Hello there, this is the news at 2200 hours in Banjul, but first the headlines. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, embarks on a 2-week tour to countryside to thank Gambians for giving him another 5-year mandate. Deepening employability in the country, National Enterprise Development Initiative, NADI, reintegrates 400 returnee migrants into a 5-month entrepreneurship training. Plus, a man is confirmed dead and 2 others severely injured while draining a sewer in Serekunda on early Saturday morning. In the internationals, Russian President Vladimir Putin discusses the situation in Ukraine during separate phone calls with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron. Elsewhere, the Tanzanian government announces that it made over $3 billion from the mining sector in 2021. Well, those are the headlines and much more coming ahead with me, Fatu Elika Muloshi. Many thanks for joining us. Well, it's great to have you here. We begin this bulletin with the presidency because the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has embarked on a 2-week tour of the countryside to thank Gambians for giving him another 5-year mandate. The Gambian leader, who left the State House on Saturday afternoon, is accompanied by cabinet ministers, NPP party executive members and supporters. Meanwhile, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, presided over a day's meeting on the rapid assessment report of the multi-sectoral assessment team, which did plenary findings on humanitarian crisis caused by the ongoing fight between the Senegalese armed forces and the separatist MFDC rebels of Casamance. Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure, who heads the team, said there are so many lessons to take away from the report as government amplifies efforts to deal with this spillover. Louis Mendy reports.
The rapid assessment report of the multi-sectoral rapid assessment team is the preliminary findings on the humanitarian crisis caused by the ongoing fight between the Senegalese armed forces with the separatist MFDC rebels of Casamance. Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure, who heads the team, said there are so many lessons to take away from the report as the government amplifies efforts to deal with the spillover.
So far, so good. What I have learned here is that before we left, we thought we should harmonize the tools and that all the sectors that are relevant should come together rather than each one of them working in silos, which is not an efficient and effective way of dealing with matters. So they have agreed, and after that meeting, they went and have one framework that involves all of them, and that was used to collect the data and the reports. That is what the findings that is being reported here today. So today I'm very convinced that this process is also going to build capacity in creating the opportunity for us to work together, to develop tools and work with our partners who have the relevant technical ability or competence to guide us and support us in making a very good report, a very good approach towards addressing the humanitarian risk.
The findings are important for the government for guidance in policy decision making.
It's a tool that the government can use to engage its partners. You cannot just go to your partner and say, I have this crisis, please give me money. It doesn't work like that. This is a process by which you get the evidence to make the case. And already the evidence is there. We are in this preliminary assessment. It's a rapid assessment, but a lot of findings have been made and a lot of issues have emerged, which shows that the detailed assessment is absolutely important. There are various multifaceted issues that have come. The education of the school children that have been displaced, the issues of violence against women and sexual violence, women and their needs, is also about the health of the mentally and physically challenged, as well as people who are farmers. The study or the data is showing that 70% of the people affected so far are farmers. That's a huge statistics. So it means we have to build their resilience. We need to do a lot of things to respond.
The Senegal Casamance crisis It's not a Gambian problem, but as a border country, the spillover is already immense. Hence this message to the general public by Dr. Issa Toure, particularly to the people of Fonyi in the West Coast region.
Yes, I just want to first sympathize with the Fonyis and to say that His Excellency President Barrow is very much aware, and we are all aware, that we found themselves in a situation like this. But the first critical message I want to send is that the economy has no role in anything that has to do with this situation. They are here as an economic force who are doing their jobs and nothing to do with this crisis. So I want them to understand it clearly that we should be very careful of what we say and how we say it. We should all put our hands together and see how we deal with this matter and make sure that people's lives are safe, make sure that we quickly try to resolve the problem from our end, and also our leaders are engaging to see how best to address this problem.
The government has already disbursed $5 million to support the internally displaced persons, and the multi-sectoral rapid assessment committee led by the National Disaster Management Agency has started getting food aid to victims. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Now to some sad news, because a man has been confirmed dead and two others severely injured while draining a sewer in Serekunda early morning Saturday. Eyewitnesses told GRTS staff that the victims are employees of a private company who drained a manhole. According to the eyewitnesses, the victims were recalled on Friday to complete the unfinished work at the site, and one of them was overpowered by gas from the manhole. The fire and rescue service, which quickly responded to the emergency, helped to recover the victim from the manhole, but he was later pronounced dead at the Serekunda General Hospital. Two others, including the homeowner who contracted drainage services, sustained multiple injuries while trying to rescue their colleague. The public relations officer of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services said they are still trying to establish the cause of the incident. Moving on, National Enterprise Development Initiative NADI, with funding from European Union through International Organization for Migration, launched a 5-month entrepreneurship training for 400 returnee migrants. Janketure filed in this report.
Training on the entrepreneurship for 400 returnee migrants, which comprise men and women, according to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth, Siku Sanyang, is in line with government's reintegration programs to create livelihood opportunities for the youthful population.
The training objectives, as you have been told, are meant to build the capacity of trainees in entrepreneurship programs, to create employment opportunities, and assist returnees to resettle in their communities so that they can contribute effectively in the socio-economic development of their respective communities. The training will also help to reduce the challenges of irregular migration to Europe and support the returnees to acquire sustainable self-employment opportunities through their own business enterprises. One of the key challenges facing the youth in this country is unemployment. And this is common in many other countries as well. Some of the factors that trigger irregular migration to Europe among the youth are the challenges of getting employment.
The General Manager, National Enterprise Development Initiative, Abbasba, cited the importance of the training.
Training that you are undergoing today is very important, because the training is going to expose you to real entrepreneurship programs. You are going to be provided business enterprise management skills, which includes business development plan, design thinking, marketing and marketing research, customer relation, so that by the time you leave this place, you will be able to know how to effectively manage your own business. Our relationship with IOM have started since last year, and we are doing a very good job. Recently, we were able to conduct an M&E, and the report was very positive.
The Deputy Executive Director, National Youth Council, Pama Alexise, and representative of International Organization for Migration, Balamusa Konate, respectively, noted that the training aimed to empower returnees to be integrated and financially stable.
Being there and come back here, that doesn't mean that that's the end of the world. And we need not to regret anything that has happened in there. Let's just use it as a lesson and as a challenge and motivate ourselves to grow. And it's not only you who've been there and come. There are people who have been to the United States. They either come through the way you do, or they come on their own. But that doesn't mean that they are nobody in society.
The joint initiative aims to contribute to the strengthening of migration governance and the sustainable integration of returning migrants in the Gambia. The joint initiative inclusive approach involves key stakeholders, including private sector entities, to ensure the sustainability of integration and maximize the type of training opportunities provided to returnees as well as the quality of the training provided.
The launch of this 5-month entrepreneurship training program for 400 returning migrants is expected to strengthen the country's employment and employability initiatives for Gambian youth. Janket Ture, GRTS News.
The production of onions in the Gambia is mainly done during the dry season, where farmers incur huge post-harvest losses. A concept seeking to address this situation is the West Africa Competitive Program, which has taken a giant initiative by introducing onion variety that thrives well in the rainy season. The first produce, as we hear in this report by Ibrahim Abah, is up and sold at this year's trade fair in Bijilo.
West Africa Competitiveness Program is a 4-year project being implemented by United Purpose and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. The project seeks to increase competitiveness through enhanced quality and compliance along the onion value chain. The project aims to introduce a market linkage between onion growers and potential buyers. This explains why, for the first time, onion producers are off the market at this year's GCCI trade fair in Bijilo. The horticulture technical expert for UNIDO, Malamin Drame, said the project will also create cold storage facilities to reduce post-harvest losses in the value chain.
We want to increase the competitiveness of Gambia to enhance its integration into the regional and international markets. And we cannot achieve that if we don't improve on our quality and standards. So UNIDO will have a key role in trying to help the producers. We have already conducted a market analysis survey of the producers, and we were able to identify constraints. And the causes of those constraints are what we are going to implement in our activities. And one of the key constraints is lack of storage facilities.
Rejoicing over the harvest of the first rainy season onion produce, Ngansa Ture, project manager of United Purpose, noted that this development creates an alternative in the production planning process.
We feel we should do year-round production. Like the onion you are seeing is the rainy season variety. This is the first time we are producing such a kind of variety in the country. It wasn't very easy, but we are able to do it. If you look at the onions, the bulbs are very big and are attractive.
For her part, Maimuna Jabang of Pirang Mansa Garden called on women to make the best use of the introduction of this new technology to diversify agricultural production.
I'm advising women the rainy season onion varieties. We should all endeavor to produce it because it is important. Now, I want all Gambian women to try and produce it. It's important.
With records showing onions among the largest vegetable imports into the country in 2020 at around 12,500 metric tons, it is hoped that this giant initiative of introducing rainy season varieties would fill the deficit of the 33% of onions consumed yearly on vegetables. Ibrahim Abba, GRTS News.
Now on health matters, the Ministry of Health in partnership with UNICEF have begun second round of the national polio vaccination campaign in the country. The 4-day immunization campaign, which started on Saturday, is targeting children under the ages of 5. Yerojaro has the details.
Oral polio vaccination campaign against polio virus in the Gambia came after multiple positive samples were discovered, which led the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, declared as an outbreak on 18 August 2021. Speaking to GRTS shortly after launching the second round of the nationwide polio vaccination campaign in Bakau, the UNICEF representative in the Gambia, Gordon Jonathan Lewis, described the vaccination campaign as a step in the polio outbreak response activities.
This is a really important day for children in the Gambia. Following the recent confirmation of polio in the Gambia, we started a first round of vaccination back in November 2021, and this is a second round of the campaign, and we're aiming to vaccinate against polio approximately 383,000 children across the country under the age of 5 years. And why is this so important? Because polio is a serious, it's a life-threatening and very debilitating disease in children, and the most effective way to prevent polio in children is by administering a very safe, a very efficacious, and a very simple oral vaccine. Just 2 drops in the mouth of the children, as we're seeing here with the vaccinators from the Ministry of Health.
He added that the countrywide vaccination coverage is the surest way to guarantee protection against polio virus. Sambaba, the Regional Operation Officer for the Expanded Program on Immunization EPI at the Ministry of Health, said they are going to immunize the high-risk group of children under 5 years of age to stop the transmission of the virus and prevent the disease.
Already, all the teams we have close to 260 teams. They are all dispatched into the different communities. Already there is a vaccination team in every community, and so far it is going very well.
For her part, the Regional Health Promotion Officer for Western Region 1, Asitu Jalo, assured the general public, especially parents and caregivers, of the safety and effectiveness of the polio vaccine in the crusade against the disease.
We realize that polio is within us, although we haven't found any confirmed case with regards to our children, but we are very, very concerned because it is within the environment. So we have to tighten our belts towards protecting these children, because the kids of today are the future of tomorrow. So we need not to waste time. We need to do all efforts to make sure that these children are protected.
For GRTS News, this is Zero Jalo reporting.
We now move to the Central River region, where women converged in Kaur to commemorate the 2022 International Women's Day celebration, courtesy of Action Aid in partnership with United Purpose and Catholic Relief Services. GRTS's Mudula Misane filed in this Women Empowerment Report.
A colorful march past through the streets of Kaur marks the beginning of events celebrating International Women's Day in rural Gambia. Here women from across Central River region gathered at the village community center to commemorate the special day set aside to recognize their contributions in development and reflect on challenges women face.
The day also observes support or actions taken against gender inequality around the world. The project commemorating the day is called Empowering Civil Society to Mobilize Citizens' Action Towards the Green Economy. The overall objective of the project is to build the capacity of CSOs to increase their participation in national development in the long term.
The partnership between Catholic Relief Service, United Purpose, and Action Aid Gambia brought together rural and urban women on a historic occasion that seeks to empower women.
The outcome of the project is to promote community advocacy and consolidate climate adaptation capacities of women and youth on green economy, policies, and environmental sustainability. The specific objective of the project is to support the implementation of policies relating to sustainable management of natural resources and ecosystem and sustainable consumption and production, thereby enabling the transition into a green economy.
Such commemorations are rare and perfect platforms for rural women to express their challenges and display farm produce and locally processed products for marketing.
Saabu bi amna carotte, amna fudan, amna lem, amna detol, amna meew, amna nen.
Capacity of the women, also to strengthen women in the different activities. You see, after the presentation, you saw different activities provided by women.
Women leaders at the event elaborated on the significance of Women's Day whilst forwarding recommendations to strengthen women's empowerment. Moudlamin Sane reporting for GRT's News from the Central River region.
The Validation Forum on the development of a policy document on human rights, youth employment, women and youth participation in governance and access to natural resources is underway in Soma. The convergence organized by Bekanyang is in partnership with National Youth Council or the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, Think Young Women and Activista the Gambia with funding from UNDP. Usman Balde reports from Mansakonko.
Of these documents will help provide evidence-based policy to the authorities with a view of addressing the issues young people and women are faced with in the country. Speaking in Soma, the senior program officer at Bekanyang, Sanaba Jawla, explained that they conducted a research on issues that are affecting young people and women's lack of access to natural resources.
All these efforts that we're doing, they gear towards two things. One of which is to produce a policy brief, and the other one is to produce a fact sheet. And these two documents are going to inform policymakers and advocates as well on key areas of youth employment, women access to natural resources, youth and women participation in governance. They will also inform policymakers as to what the status quo is and what needs to be done. That is why after it, we're also making recommendations to these policymakers to say that if A, B, and Z is done, it is going to improve the life and livelihood of young people, or it is going to improve life and livelihood of women in this country.
Fatima Chaju of Think Young Women invite a response from participants which will be very informative for the young people of the country.
I can see very sound-minded young people and women here, and I'm sure the results that will come out of this gathering will be something that will inform the issues that young people and women of this country are going through, especially when it comes to politics, when it comes to governance in general, when it comes to unemployment and access to natural resources. So everything that will come out of this gathering will be something that will inform, basically, represent all the young people of this country, as we are all facing the same issues, and women.
According to organizers, they were in LRR to present the findings of their last year research to the young people, adding that the documents, if satisfied, will be crucial in improving youth and women's participation in all sectors of national development. Usman Balde, GRT's News.
And we head to Humanitarian Efforts because a top Gambian businessman, Abubakari Jawara, is the latest recipient of a prestigious Pan-African Award. The award is in recognition of his philanthropic work and the advancement of the African continent. MS Jala has the details.
Gambian businessman and philanthropist Abubakari Jawara is the latest recipient of the Patriotic and Philanthropic Personality Award. The prestigious award by the League of African Development Students goes to individuals making positive contributions in diverse ways across the African continent. The award was conferred on Mr. Jawara at a ceremony attended by family members and some distinguished guests. Jawara, a conglomerate businessman, scooped the award among several other nominees around the continent after a rigorous vetting process where the Gambian stood out on top for his selfless service to humanity and the advancement of Africa.
Our satellites have beamed not only to West Africa, but of course to the smiling coast of Africa, that is the Gambia, and identified one man, one solution, of course one formula. Someone who has refused to stay back in China, he had refused to stay back in Hong Kong, and of course they decided to come back to Africa to contribute with his wealth of knowledge and wealth towards Africa's quest for development and self-reliance. He has not only invested in businesses, but of course has also done a lot in terms of philanthropy. In our own constituency, which is education, this man has invested in scholarship. This man has also invested in rural development for rural women, in agriculture, in terms of healthcare support, in terms of a lot, youth empowerment, you can name it. And that is why we felt that these categories of award today, in all of entire Africa, would only come to the Gambia and will come to Honorable Abubakar Jawara.
The award-winning businessman described the recognition as a proud moment for him, but one that challenges him to even do more.
I really appreciate the League of African to choose me in all Africa in this prestigious award. And I will never, ever, look back. Today, what I was doing, in my activity, I will increase because of this.
The winner of the Pan-African Award was born in Gambisara. He started his business at a young age, rising to become a top business executive and a leading philanthropist through his Abubakar Jawara Foundation, which is impacting the lives of many people within and outside of the Gambia. Music and food lighted up the glamorous night as guests rejoice over Mr. Jawara's achievements. News.
Well, we'll take a short break, but up next is news beyond our borders. Stay. Welcome back. And in the internationals, Russian President Vladimir Putin discussed the situation in Ukraine during separate phone calls with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron. In his conversation with Scholz, Putin said Moscow is ready to search for solutions during negotiations with Kyiv, and the solutions it was searching for would be in line with its principled approaches. Scholz called for a ceasefire, improvement in the humanitarian situation, and a diplomatic solution to the conflict as soon as possible, according to a statement issued by the German government. Elsewhere, the Tanzanian government has announced that it made over $3 billion from the mining sector in 2021, especially from gold, silver, and copper. Details in this report.
Tanzania has recorded its highest ever level of annual mineral sales. In 2017, the Tanzanian government changed regulations and took up to use electronic payments for levies on industrial and construction minerals as a move to increase revenue collection.
Under the leadership of this sixth phase government, the mineral sector has hit a new record in direct sales of minerals. During this time, we sold assorted types of minerals valued at over $3.5 billion. These minerals have been sold in various markets.
The government recently signed 4 special mining license contracts worth $735 million. The deals are for mining graphite, gold, diamonds, and sand minerals along the coast. Officials from Tanzania's Chamber of Mines say the country has vast mineral wealth potential.
I think gold is taking the lead, but also we have some gemstones, some industrial minerals. But now we are experiencing intense exploration in what we call critical minerals. Some minerals like graphites are coming up. Graphite, we have got rare earth metals are coming in, nickel, cobalt are coming in. So I think as a country we are doing great.
The Ministry of Minerals reports the contribution of the mining sector to the national economy has been increasing, saying in the period of July to September last year, it went up to 7.9% compared to 7.3% in the same period in 2020. Despite the success, experts in the field feel the exploration aspects of the mining business can be improved.
So what we need is a policy, the legal framework, the conducive environment to enhance exploration so that we can have more mines coming into place, particularly critical minerals right now. Because now we are going to minerals which are called critical, which lead to green energy. For example, nickel and cobalt, uranium, rare earth metals, helium, graphite, which are all of them available in Tanzania. What we need is the conducive climate for investment, the policies which enhances exploration.
In controlling smuggling and maintaining mineral markets, the government has set up 44 mineral markets and 70 sales centers so small-scale miners can trade transparently and fairly. The government says it is optimistic that its mining sector's contribution to the economy can reach 10% of the GDP come 2025, if not sooner. It now says it wants to enhance the growth and capability of small-scale miners so that they fully participate in the mining industry and reap the benefits of hitting that target. Daniel Kijo, CGTN, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
We're still on Africa because African governments have raised concerns following Ukraine's call to enlist volunteer fighters. But for some, youths have expressed interest in fighting for Ukraine. Details in this CGTN report.
At the Ukrainian embassy in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, seeking to be enlisted as fighters. This came after reports of Ukraine's recruitment drive targeting Africans. Here in Nigeria, many youths indicated interests. For them, it's yet another opportunity to leave the shores of the country to seek greener pastures.
It's better for someone to even die there than to die in this country. Yes. My brother, is it anything special in this country? You and I know that nothing special in this country.
Some of us think that it's better to die for a country who will value you, right, than to die for a country who will not, even while you're alive, it seems as if you're dead already.
But volunteers have since stepped back following stringent travel requirements and stiff resistance from Nigerian authorities.
What we have seen in the case of Nigeria is that we've seen a segregation, or probably I can say a discrimination, because you were aware of that rule when the second secretary of the Ukrainian embassy in Nigeria mentioned that Nigerians who want to volunteer to fight in defense of Ukraine must pay $1,000. You cannot expect the reaction you've seen from Nigeria.
I support those authorities that are opposed to it. But, the request or the idea did not go to those authorities. The idea is appealing to the citizens of these authorities, of these countries. The countries saying no, their rights, because they want to protect their sovereignty.
UN peacekeeping efforts have helped several countries navigate through conflict situations, but Ukraine has moved to get mercenaries from Africa and elsewhere.
So it was a call for survival, and that call has been responded to. You are aware of that. But is it acceptable by international law in that context? Yes, because the United Nations has not come out to probably declare that call unlawful.
Over 100 Nigerians had volunteered to be recruited to fight for Ukraine, but Nigerian authorities have insisted they'll not allow the country's citizens to be used as mercenaries in Ukraine or anywhere else in the world. Kelechi Emekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
You're watching us live from Banjul. This is the news at 10. A quick look at our top stories once again. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has embarked on a 2-week tour to countryside to thank Gambians for giving him another 5-year mandate. Deepening employability in the country, National Enterprise Development Initiative, NEDI, has reintegrated 400 returnee migrants into a 5-month entrepreneurship training. Plus, a man has been confirmed dead and 2 others severely injured while draining a sewer in Serekunda on early Saturday morning. In the internationals, Russian President Vladimir Putin has discussed the situation in Ukraine during separate phone calls with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron. Elsewhere, the Tanzanian government has announced that it made over $3 billion from the mining sector in 2021. Well, that's it for the news tonight. Until we come your way again tomorrow for more news, enjoy the rest of our programs and good evening.